What's up guys, this is Logan, Hydra 572. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Spyderco CentoFante 3. So let me get started with a little bit of usage before I dive right in. As I explained in the EDC update, I'm thinking of this knife as a secondary EDC option. I know a lot of people will be thinking of it as a primary EDC option, and also with a little caveat of gentleman's EDC in a situation where if you're going to want to carry a knife, you're going to want people to think it's a classy knife. I think this thing will fit right in. So let's dive on in with a tip. My tip came pretty dull, as maybe you guys can see. It's just not a very thin profile tip, not very sharp, but I think that's fine. There's no chance in hell that this thing's going to be a tactical knife. Sharp tip would still be nice though. With belly, I think we have enough belly on this design. Definitely not abounding in belly, but I think we've got plenty. The blade profile, oh, there it is. I like it, not spectacular for EDC, but hey, it's not boring at all, and I think it looks great, and I think it'll work fine. The grind is hollow. It's got this nice swedge grind on top. You see that reflect. I like the full flats, but you can't deny in this design it looks good. The steel is VG10 with the Spyderco satin finish. Spyderco does a really nice satin finish, very rust-resistant finish, and looks pretty good too. The retention on the VG10 is pretty good, definitely not a problem. Didn't notice it, didn't have to sharpen it while I was carrying it for review. The sharpening itself, oh so fun. As you guys can see, I've mostly fixed the problem spots in the blade from trying to cut a metal tie on a box. They came out pretty easy with the Spyderco Sharpmaker coarse stones. Definitely not a problem before I had done that to the blade, and still not a problem after. The deployment, well, you got your Spidey hole, so use it as a thumb stud, use it for the Spidey drops. You get a rotational inertia opening. Yeah, it's just not as fast as using the Spidey hole. I had trouble trying to get a zip tie mod onto this thing. I'm sure if you guys really want one, you'll be able to think up a way to get it to work. The lock, we have a back lock with a Bowie dent. You know, all the Spyderco knives I've ever seen that were riveted with a back lock had some blade play problems, side to side, up and down. You guys can see that. Definitely not a deal breaker. It's not too much. Doesn't feel low quality or anything, just there is some there. Handle, as I just said, stylized FRN. Definitely looks sweet. The sweeping lines, got the little inlaid spider. This side is more plain. That's alright. Go on to ergos. Well, you're not getting much traction out of the FRN. You get a little bit from the lines. I got a nice, great jimped thumb ramp there, and I'd say it makes up some of the traction gap with the handle material, but definitely, like I said, you're not going to push this knife into tactical. This is an EDC knife, and the grip is rather comfortable for that purpose. Jimping, as I said, yep, pretty well. That thumb ramp there, Spyderco does a good thumb ramp, most of their knives. Hole, nope, no lanyard hole. That's alright. Wouldn't really think about putting a lanyard on this particular knife anyway. Presentation, well, as I've been saying, it's a beautiful knife, great sweeping lines, came very sharp just like most Spydercos do. Just the tip really is the only presentation problem. I doubt that was a quality control issue, bet it was more of a design issue, but hey, you know, that is not a deal breaker for me. The screws, well, we got rivets in the handle, and that's alright. I'd like screws. Don't know why we can't have screws. I've heard problems of Spyderco's FRN cracking when you take it apart. Maybe that's it, but that should not be a problem. I would prefer screws, but again, definitely not a deal breaker. That thin channel for the blade, you're not going to be accumulating a lot of lint that you need to clean out. Now, I'd never have cleaned lint out of this thing, and hopefully you guys can see there's none in there. So, moving on. Clip, you got right side only. Again, sorry left-handers. Your tip up, tip down, both are pretty deep. It's a fine Spyderco clip, no problems with it. Usage, as I said at the beginning, EDC knife, for me secondary, for a lot of people primary, and gentleman EDC. The overview, as a secondary knife, I think it's just about perfect. For me, it's a little small to be a primary EDC, but hey, a lot of people are going to love it that way. It's sort of stylized, sort of flashy, and I really like that about it. And just the overall pass-fail, I would absolutely give this knife a pass. I love the thing. Go down to my little stats corner, which is more of a specs corner, but I mean, I already printed the sheets out, so. The blade length, 3.125 inches. Handle length, 4.5 inches, the oddly specific overall length of 7.563 inches, blade thickness 0.078 inches, weight 2.5 ounces. Price on Blade HQ at the time of filming was $58.95. The eBay price, $51.95 for a buy it now. So there's a review on this little knife. Definitely like the thing. It's a good steal for this money. Yeah, just a very cool little knife. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for more of the same.